Hi, this is Manish Pandey. In the previous video, we talked about how to add items to queue. Now in this video, we'll discuss about how to process work queue items and update the status and update the flag of each items. Now here you can see we have this queue Centrix data solution, and I have already added queue items to this queue, and these are the data we have. Now we need to set up our process to work with the queue. So here we already have this process that we use to work with the Excel, get Excel data in a collection and then loop through each records and then process that. Now we are going to set up this one to work with the queue. So how can we do that? First we need to remove which is not required. So here this get Excel as a collection is not required on this main page, because we are not going to get Excel data in a collection, we are going to get data from queue. So I will remove this one, and then we are not going to use loop, so I will delete that. You can see here. Now after that, here you can see first it will launch and log in that Centrix application, and then it will go to orders menu. After that we need to take here get next item, because we need to get one by one item from queue. So first we need queue name, that data item. So we already have this data item available in this add items to queue. I have already shown this one in my previous video. Let me just use the same thing. We have queue name Centrix data solutions, globally visible. Now go to add items to queue, double click on add items to queue here and replace with this one. Let me go to main page, text, and then take this queue name here. Now click OK. Now currently I am not including add items to queue on this main page, because whenever I will run this, every time it will add items to queue, and I might need to run multiple times here if I am getting any error. So I don't want to include this one. But as I have already told you about in my one video of schedule process, that you can take this as a separate process and you can create a new task, and first add items to queue part will be executed, and then your this process part will be, this main part will be executed. Because if you will use this in the main page, every time if you will run that, it will add items to queue. Otherwise you have to write some condition to check if you already have some data in the queue, then do not add items to queue, right? So you can do that in your project as per requirement. Mostly people prefer to keep add items to queue in a different process and run whenever that is required. Now here, after launch and login and go to orders menu, we need to take one action stage so that we can get next item. So in the business object, we need to select our internal business object, that is work queues, because we are going to work with the queue. And here we need to select get next item. In the get next item, we need to pass in the input queue name. So our queue name is available on the main page. So we will take this one, and in the output we will be getting two things, one that is item ID and second data collection. So our data collection will be one by one row data. So here in the item ID we need to create one, just create the same thing. So instead of creating with the name of data collection, I am going to put here queue data. Create that. Let me remove this one and click OK. So this is our queue data. So every time whenever we will run this one, this get next item, it will assign one item ID. If item is available in the queue, then it will give us a unique item ID, and then it will store that queue item data in this queue data collection. Every time whenever we are getting next item, we need to always check that we have data available in this item ID or not. If not, do not process that. If yes, then move ahead. We will take here one condition. Let me move this one, this part. Let me take here and let me take one decision stage and then link this here. This decision name will be, it will check we have got item or not, and then here we will be checking on the main page item ID not equal to blank. If item ID not equal to blank, it means we have the data, then we need to process our items, right. So we have, for the processing side, we have go to new orders, because after this one we have to go to new orders, then add new orders, then read reference, and then again we need to repeat. Just move these things here for the time being, and this is our process. Now just link this with here. If everything successfully processed, then we need to mark that specific item as a completed. If we will not update that, every time item will be picked and it will be in the locked state. So we need to take one action stage, work queues, and here select mark completed. Now here we need to pass as input item ID, so this item ID will be completed. Now click OK. So after this, after mark completion, we have one page that is read reference, and in the read reference what we do, we read the reference number from the pop-up. Every time whenever we click on submit button, it gives us one number, that is the reference number. So we are reading that reference number, and then we are storing in the collection, right. So we have to do the same things also. Now after updating this reference and after updating this completed, what I am thinking here, to append this collection. It means whatever data will be getting in the first, in the queue data, that will be every time one row, and we will add that specific reference number to this queue data, and then will append each data to one specific collection, and then that specific collection will write here in the Excel file. So what we need to do, we need to take one more action here, and this action will for take business object as a utility collection manipulation, and take here append rows to collection. Which collection we need to append? So we are going to append collection that is we have on the main page queue data. So whatever data we will be getting every time, it means first time we will get one item, we will be updating our reference number to that specific queue data, this collection, and then this first row will be appended to the main collection, and then second time again we have another row of data in this queue data collection, again we will append the second one into this one, right. So here I am going to create a new collection, that is name will be main collection. I am going to create this. Let me copy and take one collection from here, double click on this, paste this name collection. This is our collection. Now go to utility, and then we will be taking this main collection here, right. Now in the output, after appending this data to the main collection, it will give us a combined collection. So we will again store in the same main collection, append row to main collection. Just update the name of this action. Okay, and just link everything here, and after appending that specific row data, this queue data, to the main collection, again we need to go and get next item, and then again it will come here. If item available, go to new orders and complete everything. Now if item is not there, then what? So if item is not there, then close the application. After that, if item is not there, then close application and then update the updated data to the Excel file. We'll take this one here, let me remove and then link this one and take this global recover side here, or you can take here also, no problem, you can take this way. Let me go to new orders. There is nothing required here. Now only we need to change in the add new orders. Double click on that. Okay, now go to add new orders and then double click on this action, and we are passing this order collection. Now we are taking data from queue data, not from order collection. So this time we are going to take the data from this queue data. It means we need to change this one, this queue data, we need to make it globally visible. Now go to add new orders, double click on that and remove this part, and then take the data from main page, this queue data, right? Click OK. Go to read reference, because after this one we are going to read reference, and in the read reference we are reading the reference number and storing in the reference number data item here, and then this data item, this value again we are storing in the order collection, that was the Excel collection, but now we are not using this Excel collection, now we are using that queue data, because now we have the queue data collection. So we have this one, and then just change that reference. So we have this queue data collection and we have this reference column also, this field also available in that collection, right? Now click OK, go here, and now you can see we are ready to run the happy path. After completing, do you also want to update the status if that is completed? So yes. So how can you do that? Let me just adjust this one. After mark completed, I want to update the status also. So I will take one action stage again here, that will update the status. Double click on that, again take here work queues and select here update status. Take here item ID and the status will be, I want to update the status as a completed. So if this is completed successfully, I want to update that status is completed, or you can put as a successfully, you can put any text value as per your requirement or whatever you like here. Now just remove this part and write here update completed status. Now link this one. Now what will happen if there is an error while processing this queue item? So it will go to the exception part. Now we need to manage our process in that way so that we can check the errors. If there is error, then we need to mark system exception also. So how can we do that here? So now let me do one thing here, let me move these things here, and now let me take one block so that we can cover everything in one piece, in one box. Let me put here and let me take this here, let me take here. So this is our one block, and inside that we have all the processing part. We have read reference, add new orders, go to new orders. Now whenever there is an error while doing these things, while going to new orders or while adding new orders or while reading reference, if there is any error, I want to mark this as a system exception, whatever exception we are getting. So for that, we have to take one recover stage. So whenever there will be error, this recover part will catch that exception. Now if it will catch that exception, I want to store that exception here, so that we will have the region, and then will resume here after that, and after resume I want to update the status again. Sorry, I want to update the flag and the status, both things we need to do. So this is for updating the status. So we'll take here update status, and a status will be exception, or you can write system exception something. Now take the item ID here. Now go to outputs and then remove this part and write here update exception status. Now click OK. Let me take here work queues and take here mark exception, because if there is any exception, we need to mark that item as a exception. So we'll take item ID here, and then we need exception region. So in the exception region, I am not going to pass any default value. I am going to store whatever value will be captured by this recover. I am going to store here. So let me take this name exception region, and let me store exception detail. Go to exception, and whatever exception details will be getting, I am going to store. So we already have one exception detail data item available that is used in the recover global recover side. So I am going to use the same thing here, exception detail, because we can have only one time error either in the global recovery or in this part, right. So store this one exception region. Now just link this part, link this side, link this one, link this one, and now here in the mark exception, let me first remove this one. In the exception region, I am going to store, I am going to pass here that exception detail. Now click OK. Now after that, if there is any exception, I want to append. If there is any error, it will go and just go to this line and get next item. It means if there is any error, it will not update that value. Now what I am going to do here, if there is any error, it will come here region, resume, mark exception, and then update system exception status, next item, pick again, right. Open workbook, write updated collection to Excel. Now here we are writing updated collection to Excel again. So here we are taking again order collection, but now we are not going to take order collection, because in the order collection we are not using that, we are just using order queue data. So here in the main page, we are not going to pass queue data, we are going to pass main collection. Why? Because now this main collection will have the all this appending data. So we'll just double click on this and uncheck this hide from others pages in the process, so that we can make it globally accessible. So just go to the write data to collection, double click on that and take here collection as a main collection, and everything will be same. We just changed our collection, write updated collection to Excel. Now let me do one thing, let me save this one and now let me reset and refresh that. Right click on this start, set next stage. You can directly run from here. Now step launch and login, double click on just click on that. Now click on step over one more time so that it can go to the orders menu. It will click on orders. Okay, now we are on the get next item. Now once I will execute this part, it will get the next item. It means based on the FIFO structure, first in first out, data will be picked. And you can see here, let me step over, and now let me refresh this one. You can see this number has been now picked by our resource, and it has the flag that is logged. It means this item has been logged by this resource, so it will not allow any other session, any other resource to pick this item. Now here also you can see, once it will go through this get next item, it will give us one data item, that is item ID, and it has the value that is the unique ID. Every time whenever it will pick the data, it will assign this value. And then also in the queue data, we have this collection. You can see we have first row of data available here, and we have also last, that is reference, and that is blank. Blank, it means we are going to use our read reference and will be storing that data here. Now here got item, so yes, it will go to the here. You can see here. Now what I am going to do, I am going to just complete up to this one, mark completed, so that it will complete this part without any error. So right click and run to this stage. So it will update these data. Click on submit. It will take the value from this pop-up, and then it will come to the mark completed. Now we are on the mark completed. So once I will go through this, if I will click on a step over, then you will see here currently our status is logged, but let me execute this one, and now refresh this one, and you can see now this has been completed. It means you will not able to pick this item again. This has been completed successfully. Now we are on the update completed status. It means here in the status column will be updating our completed text here, and just refresh that. So we are getting one error on this part. So the problem was we cannot pick the same item. First we need to, let me do one thing. Let me just stop this, and first we need to update the status and then mark completed. I forgot to do that. I forgot to follow that one. First we need to update the completed status and then mark completed flag. Same way here also, first we need to update the exception flag, we need to update the status as exception, and then we'll update the flag as exception. Let me refresh this and just ignore this part. We'll start with the new again. Reset, refresh, right click. Let me close that one. Set next stage. Now what I am going to do, I am going to complete up to this one. Right click and run to this stage. So it will launch and log in, get next item, and then it will start processing that one. Now let me come here and now you can see here we have updated the status of this one, that is showing completed, and then still that is in progress, it is logged. It means bot has access to complete this part. Now it will go and mark this flag as a completed, and let me show you again. Now you can see we have updated the status and then completed. Once that item is completed with the flag, you will not able to update any states or anything on that item, right? Now it will update the collection. Let me run again, and you can see now this has been updated. Append rows to main collection. I can show you here. Now in the main collection we have one record with the value reference number 0003526. It has taken the value from Q data from this one and appended to the main collection. Why we have done this one, I will tell you, I will explain that one in the next run. Now it will pick another item, just complete up to this, right click and run to this stage, and now you will see here it will again update completed and flag as a completed also. Now you can see, now here let me show you that now here we have a main collection row 1 of 2. It means now we have 2 records in this main collection. We have 2 different order number also and 2 different reference number also. But if you see in the row Q data, we have row 1 of 1. It means we have only 1 row, we don't have 2. So every time whenever we go through this get next item, we get only 1 row of data. So that's why we are not storing here. We are appending data to the main collection, and then we are storing this one. Whenever all these items will be completed, we will be storing this item to our main file, that is Excel file. Now what will happen if there is any error here? So let me first complete 2 more, so that at the end I can show you this part, this error part. Let me again come to this, right click and run to this stage. Now here you can see, now we have only one work item that is pending. Now this time I will show you how to mark this as exception. Now let me go with this one. Let me first keep here next item. Now this item has been picked. Go into new orders. Now if I will just click on home page, or if I will close this application, it means it will not able to type the value, it will not able to add new orders to this one. So there will be one error. So automatically error will be cached by this recover stage, and then it will go through this step. Now let me show you this again. Let me step over, and you can see we are on the recover part. Step over, and in the exception region, now you can see we have exception, that is failed to perform step 1 in the right stage. Type into product code on the page, add new orders. So there is error here, it means it was not able to reach to that element. Now next, and now we are on the update exception status, and you will see here now the status is exception. Now we will update our flag because we have this exception. Mark exception and refresh this, and now you can see we have updated the flag as exception, and we have tag that is failed to perform, and here also in the exception region you can see the same exception that we got here in this one. right? Now it will come here, next item, it will check got item, it will check here if we have any item. So currently this is blank, it means we don't have any records with the pending states. So it will go to the got item, no. Close Centrix applications, it will close this application. Now this application has been closed, and then it will go and write the updated data to the collection to the Excel file. Now step over and then end, and this is completed, right? And you see here now we have 5 to 6 records. Let me open this order sample, this file. You can see 3:22 p.m. and you can see here there was one error and there was one item that we missed to update the status, and there was an error, so that's why we don't have data here. So you can check these things in your work queue and you can understand why this was not updated, right? So by this way we can process our work queue items, we can update the status of completed or exception, and we can mark our specific item as a exception or completed flag, and we can update our items data to the collection on each run, and then we can update to the Excel. Now in the next video we'll discuss about queue retry.